Johnny Matt Show is no more.
Very soulful.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. We're live on tape and in color from high atop Television Hill, the studios of WPXI and your Pittsburgh Cable News Channel. I am the late, great John McIntyre. Didn't I used to be John McIntyre? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final episode of Night Talk, and you can't beat that with a stick. 3 separate sets of 3 scintillating free-for-all panelists, and Bill Green isn't the only midget here tonight. Plus, is that okay, little Steven? Plus 2 incredible rock videos that you will not want to miss, featuring prominent Pittsburghers dancing, including Cyril Wecht, Sophie Masloff, and Lynn Cullen. Stay with us for the first scintillating free-for-all panel. Back in a moment on the final historic episode of Night Talk.
Transportation for NightTalk is provided by Star Limousine Service, the highest quality vehicles and the most professional service. Call 724-776-0044.
Back on the final episode of Night Talk, meet our first guests, our first 3 scintillating free-for-all panelists. To my immediate left, the man who made Larry Dunn look like a gopher on Quaaludes. He is the evil Republican ad genius, John Brabender, one of the best columnists in the history of columnists from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Now you're being nice.
Tony Norman. Yeah, well, I'm hoping there's one more column in there. And the chief of clinical psychology at UPMC Shadyside. He's been here after many disasters and tragedies, so we thought it only appropriate to be here
another
tonight.
one.
Will he be delivering his final report tonight, or?
He'll be delivering Fred Hansberger's baby. Dr. Paul Friday, chief of clinical psychology at UPMC Shadyside. Welcome, you guys.
Hi, John.
Thank you for allowing us on this momentous occasion.
For the final burial.
I wish it was, better reason to be here.
Yeah, but this way people might watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess
it's a big thing.
Well, it'll certainly be better than the final Seinfeld.
So,
Yes. Yes.
the future of Pittsburgh stake, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, the deficit is high, the humans are leaving, the show is going off the air, another sign that tragedy is all around us. Well, I'm trying to make it seem more important than it is to me, but, which has been my job for 7 years. But what about the future of Pittsburgh? Are we doomed?
I think absolutely not. I think Pittsburgh's going to be fine. We've got the infrastructure, the tunnel's open. It's going to happen.
That's it, the tunnel's open, okay.
We've been told, open the tunnel and the thing will happen. Well, it's open. Let's see it happen.
Tony?
Are we doomed? In a word, yes, we are doomed.
Thank you.
But
Honesty.
But let's look at it this way. Doom and gloom and apocalypse, those things can actually be pluses to an economy, because when things are collapsing, eventually they build it up again.
What are you, George
That's
Bush?
why we don't let the liberals run anything.
Well, let's start.
John Brabender, you're a big advertising guy. You could base your offices in Washington or elsewhere. You choose to keep your main offices in Pittsburgh.
I didn't tell you? Oh, no.
You're right.
My theory is, to be honest with you, it's not the city itself, it's the attitude. I mean, I travel a lot, as a lot of people that you'll have on tonight, and I will tell you, I hear more complaining about some of the things in this town when we have marvelous things that people don't talk about. And I think more than anything, this area needs an attitude change. I really do. I think that sometimes we forget how remarkable it is around here. Everybody is suffering financially to some extent right now. The city is in problems, there's no doubt, and that'll be solved at some point. But we have some great assets regionally around here, and I don't understand why people don't talk about those more often.
I guess, but sometimes I think when people just do rah-rah boosterism stuff that they're sort of ignoring the reality that seems to be rather dismal.
My example, the Steelers are my favorite example. Every year we're down on the Steelers. I don't care. If they go to the Super Bowl and don't win, we're down. It was a terrible season. But if you look historically how often they're in the playoffs, compared to most NFL franchises, it's pretty remarkable. And that's something that we should celebrate rather than be critical year after year. And I see that time after time about our politicians. I see that about...
Well, by that logic, you can never make fun or taunt politicians or a city. I mean, because relatively speaking, we're doing better than the folks in Lagos, Nigeria, sure. But,
Are you sure about that?
Well, I would assume.
Yeah.
But, really, Pittsburgh has some problems that also shouldn't be papered over, because maybe one of the reasons that we're in the mess that we're in is that we have looked the other way and been a little bit too positive, at least in the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Dr. Friday, if Brabender's right, you change people's attitudes. You make sure they don't commit suicide. How do we do that?
I think the city's model is basically the same thing that we have in our brains, and that is pay attention when there's danger.
Warning.
Warning. And if you don't have the warning, you're not going to buy the Tide or the Palmolive or whatever. So newscasts, attitudes are the sky is falling, because then you're paying attention. But if you look at it very carefully, and I just did a program for the convention center and ran a cartoon that I archived from 1992, 11 and a half years ago, from the Pittsburgh Press. It was on New Year's Day.
Post-Gazette.
No, it was the Pittsburgh Press.
Oh, before the strike.
No, before.
All right, would you put the inside baseball? What's the cartoon?
The cartoon says, of the 17 things it mentions of old man time giving to the new kid, I left some unfinished business. Deteriorating infrastructure, the ozone layer, we have the sticky situation in Iraq, the Soviet Union's disintegrating, brutal repression. 16, the only exception was the S&L savings and loan debacle, and I said just put Enron in there. They're exactly going on right now. And what would happen...
So things suck just as much now as they did then? Take heart?
They don't. What happens is there's a section of the brain that's always looking for the bad stuff so that we can survive. 11 and a half years from now, you can run the same cartoon. You're not going to have, hey kid, everything's fixed. Go for it. Have a great year. It's not going to happen.
Does that mean we can continue to run NightTalk for like the next 7 years and nobody will notice if we just take the
We
last
just
7
might
years?
not change anything.
I think you could take some solace that there's probably more people watching tonight than watched the last Ben Affleck movie. So
I would hope.
You know, and Alan Cox has a nicer ass than J-Lo, I think.
Something like that.
Oh, did I say that?
is that segment 2?
Yes.
But in all seriousness, John, I mean, we really do want to, I mean, I'm sure the three of us really want to, and everyone who's in the studio tonight, man, you are irreplaceable.
Thanks, dude.
You're a sign of the apocalypse. I mean,
You are the apocalypse.
That's not good.
Bad way,
I'm a
but
sign of the apocalypse.
John, as a representative of UPMC,
Oh, my God.
Free counseling for a year.
Everything.
yes, we have something for you. We have several things for you. When the Wiz left the city,
Notice how they got the logo out and everything?
when the Wiz left the city,
And who took the Wiz in order for the Wiz to leave the city?
well, the Wiz knew when to get out of town. All right.
see.
But when he left, he had some friends, and he left the right things for his friends. For example, the lion had courage. John, you don't need courage. You got courage. You took it on every single time you got on the move. You don't need courage. And the straw man, you needed a brain. You got a brain. You're one of the smartest people that I've ever worked with. You're very verbal. You're very good. So now we got to talk about a heart. All right? The Tin Man got a heart. You got a heart, John. You don't need a heart. But there are some things you don't have. And I
got a heart on is what I got.
No, you got a heart on. All right. John, would you read that for John? Because we got that, and you can hold it up to the,
For your very outstanding performance, you are awarded 1 attaboy. 1,000 attaboys qualifies you to be a leader of men, work overtime with a smile, explain assorted problems to management, and be looked upon as a local hero without a raise in pay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, read the bottom, though.
Note 1 SH blank blank wipes the board clean, and then you have to start all over again.
Okay.
So, we don't really, I totally mean no disrespect because this is so nice, but I don't have like 20 minutes for 5 more things.
I know, this
Doc.
is just,
You think you could trade-
just it.
You think you
And
could
here's
trade
your
this
other
for a job?
certificate.
Yes.
Oh, you cannot say that one.
Or would you rather have what's behind door number 3?
No, you got that.
1 SH blank blank. Thank you.
Is this helping your
But look
career
at
or
the
not?
bottom,
I
what
don't
it
know.
says.
I don't know.
What it says for you.
This wipes out all the attaboys, and you have to start all over again.
And it says, as your diagnosis,
Yeah. This also certifies that you are normal and are able to be re-employed. Thank you.
all right, you as the ultimate wild turkey. Now that's just medicinal.
Did you bring glasses?
Later, later. You are the wild turkey
right.
of the show.
But thank you very much. So having said all of that, I sense more optimism than pessimism on this panel. Am I right about the future of Pittsburgh?
I have
You've got
optimism.
it. You don't have it.
He's a misanthrope.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have anything to write about if
He's a
things were good.
misanthrope. I think.
It's not that I'm down on the future of Pittsburgh. In fact, I see diversity in our future. I see Pittsburgh awash in minorities that it's never had before. And when the drugs wear off, we're back to where we were.
I think that's what
before.
Pittsburgh could use as a good wash.
Where would you rather live?
We only have a few seconds.
You had job offer in Seattle and interest in New York, as I happen to know, and you stayed.
What they say in psychology, that you can choose to be happy?
You can choose. There is choice.
I'm not, I don't have a bad attitude about Pittsburgh, in all seriousness.
You just want to take the bad things seriously in order to get rid of them.
That's right. That's
All right.
That's fair.
You guys were a tremendous panel. Any final words, quickly?
We should
John, I
light
wish-
the bridges. That's my theory.
Light the damn bridges.
That's right.
Make the 9th Street Bridge the Ponte Vecchio of America.
Is that a good thing?
It's a wonderful thing. Make it a destination, not a way to get from one place to the other.
Tony, you want to jump off the bridge, don't you? Are you headed to the bridge?
No, John, I'm going to miss you.
Thanks, man.
All right.
I appreciate that. All right.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, an incredible free-for-all scintillating panel.
Oh, it's all right.
Back in a moment with the next panel. Find out who they are and why here on the final episode of Night Talk.
Wham, bitch.
Tonight.
Back on Night Talk Free for All Night. Let's say hello to the next scintillating Free for All panel on the final episode of Night Talk. The councilman of the future, and hopefully the mayor of the future. You say Pedato, I say Peduto. Councilman Bill Peduto.
Hey, John.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, happy JMD.
By the way, thanks to Councilman, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and talented, incredibly wonderful journalist, you know her, you love her, Jonna Pro of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Swing. And ladies and gentlemen, the Coxman, the afternoon of WXDX FM, the teenage heartthrob extraordinaire, Alan Cox.
Swain, I prefer.
Coxswain.
Yeah,
okay.
what I
I'm sitting next to the coxswain.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks to Councilman Peduto, it's literally John McIntyre Day
really
in
is.
Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Happy
City
John
Council,
McIntyre Day, everybody.
Proclamation.
Which could be one more sign that indeed I am a sign of the apocalypse and the city is doomed. So I ask you guys the same question. Are we doomed? The population is shrinking. We can't get businesses to move here.
No, we're not
The
doomed at
deficit
all.
is horrible.
No. Because you start out with what we have, and maybe what we need to do is start with a new philosophy of improving what's already here instead of trying to become what we're not. And what we have here is truly incredible because of what was given to us by great wealth. We were the Seattle of our time. There's beautiful architecture. The topography is European. The rivers and the access to waterfront is second to nowhere in this country that doesn't have an ocean. We have great assets to work around. It's just changing that paradigm, like I told you before.
We're broke, and we have no decent transportation.
That's part of
That's
changing the
it.
philosophy.
We're
though.
cooked.
That's part of changing the
We're
philosophy.
cooked. And I'm a city supporter. You know that. I've stayed here. I've built my life here. But I'm ready to pack up and leave.
Really?
Absolutely.
Alan Cox, you came here from Chicago, and you made quite a nice gig for yourself here.
Yeah, I
but-
didn't come directly from Chicago. That's where I grew
Okay.
up. But yeah, I mean, I looked outside my window at 12:01 because I knew today would be the day of the last Night Talk, and the moon had turned to sackcloth. And the seas were as of blood, yeah. So are we doomed? I don't know. Do I care? No, because I'll be gone soon
leaving.
anyway, so I don't care. I'll be going to New York or Seattle or Chicago, and I don't care. But, I will say
that's
this.
not imminent. You're not announcing news.
I'm not announcing news,
Okay.
no. I'm just prolonging the inevitable.
All right.
However, Pittsburgh, for a city with as much riverfront property as it has, really wastes it. That's what I think
But
of.
do you think that Leeper, if he were here, the government guy who builds the stadiums and does the boondoggles, would argue, look, we're starting to improve it. The North Shore right now, for example, has a lot more cool space by the river than it used to. Is that a legitimate point?
No, that's a legitimate point. But what we're doing is we're looking and saying, hey, what did Baltimore do 10 years ago? What did Cleveland do years ago? Instead of going, let's create a new chapter called Pittsburgh, and let's do something different that these places haven't. We have an opportunity between the stadiums not to put up the same type of cookie-cutter architecture that you see anywhere, but maybe a European design that you'd see like in Prague or Budapest. Something that makes it unique. When we talk about...
But the problem is, in order to put up the stadiums, you wiped out neighborhoods. I mean, the thing that makes Pittsburgh uniquely unique, you take away. I don't mean you personally, Bill. And I happen
He
to...
has single-handedly...
It's your
staff has been
fault.
working a hell of a lot than I
And
knew.
I happen to be a supporter of the new stadiums, but we take those things away, and then we want to say, well, we want to be unique and different. Well, when you destroy neighborhoods, which we have done, when you destroy neighborhoods, you take away the character of what Pittsburgh is.
Hey, sometimes people got to lose their homes for sports. There's no two ways about it, all right? Sometimes you got to make it happen.
That sounds like a true Cubs fan.
Yeah, well.
Oh, isn't that horrible? Not to digress, but no Cubs, no Red Sox in the World Series.
Yeah, I've been crying like a bitch for 2 days. So, yeah, no, I'm still got a hanky in my pocket over that. But yeah.
Well, here's the perfect example. You know, we're looking right now about the future, and there isn't transportation. There's transportation problems, and there's some policies out there. I think Dr. Friday hit it perfect when he was talking about the Wizard of Oz, because what's really neat
That's
is
just some psychobabble from some of the acid trips of the 70s.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
No, it's the three critical areas of leadership. It's new ideas, conviction, and guts. And we have a policy and a plan out there to build this Mon-Fayette Expressway, which will tear apart riverfront, tear apart neighborhoods, and build a great bypass away from the Mon Valley so developers can develop in Fayette County woodlands.
And the
nice Walmarts
the
out in Fayette
Pittsburgh
County
building
woodlands.
on that allegory, the Pittsburgh Zoo, in fact, has just gotten a line on 12 dozen flying monkeys.
Keeping in with the Wizard.
I'll get you, my pretty.
I was completely...
Right over Pluto's head.
Well,
He's way more serious than
No,
you
it was
are.
a new idea. It would have been different than the Detroit Zoo.
He's
but
such a good politician.
It's nothing
There's a new idea.
that's something Baltimore hasn't tried. Flying monkeys.
Rick Santorum won't let anybody get the little dog too anymore. That's
But instead of putting $4 billion into something that every other city around the world is trying to avert or bury or get away with, which is roadway on the waterfront, why not put $4 billion into a great transit system so that you can get anywhere that's already built up and connect all those dots together?
Well, nobody's against that, are they? Or is
Yes,
everybody
because
against that?
the priorities for politicians come down, especially on transportation, to the contractors and the dollars they put into campaigns. That's why everybody will either not take a position or will support a project like Fayette.
What do you think of Dr. Friday's mood theory, that people here have a bad attitude and that contributes greatly to the just pessimism and malaise, if you will?
Yeah.
I think
From
he's
the
right.
yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that's very striking to me about Pittsburgh is it's for a city of this size, people act like it's Salina, Kansas. People have a small town mentality in Pittsburgh, which blows me away because I mean you've got a couple million people in the greater Pittsburgh metropolitan area, and it was like I never crossed the bridge to go to the well, but that mindset really colors kind of people's perceptions on every issue that comes down the pipe,
John, do you agree?
No, I agree. I agree with Alan, and I agree with the good doctor.
Or was that Brabender? Whatever. Whoever had the theory.
I would never agree with Brabender, the evil Republican ad genius. No, I do think Alan's right. I mean, I live up on Mount Washington now. I didn't grow up there, but I live up there. There are people on Mount Washington who actually say, yeah, downtown Pittsburgh, I've been there once. I mean,
And they just moved here from West Virginia.
I mean, can you? It's
Weirton is empty now.
I mean, I go to Squirrel Hill for a sale, for God's sake. So, but that's part of it. But really, I think the two keys really here are transportation. It isn't easy to get around here, and part of it is the topography. So you do need an excellent transportation system. And the bottom line is, you're not getting people downtown until there's housing for people to live in, and stores are open. If you build it, they'll come.
Everybody says housing downtown and maybe a couple grocery stores. Everybody in the world has been saying that for years, so I'm not saying it's all your problem, but why can't we do that? Or why is that nobody's interested?
No. I met with an old boss of mine who's works
Dan
in Harrisburg.
Cohen?
No, Mark Single.
All right.
And he's a lobbyist, and he has
He's
a group.
lieutenant governor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has a group that is...
Is he still single?
No, he's married.
All right.
Bill Green back there laughing.
Oh, is he like a tramp?
No, he was not
All
a
right.
tramp. I know about Bill Scranton too, so. He has a developer that's ready and willing, and what he wants to do is create student housing. So Point Park College, Robert Morris, Duquesne University, housing would be on second, third, fourth stories with retail below. And basically, you got to change that philosophy. Do we have to have a retail, big department store hub like 1950s in downtown, or could it be something different? And
Well, whatever's there has to be open. I mean, walk downtown at night. I just got back from 6 months in Harrisburg. There are more people in downtown Harrisburg on any given night of the week than anywhere near downtown Pittsburgh. Thousands of them. Their whole main street is just filled with young people.
And how many department stores do they have? Major big department stores?
Little stores, little restaurants,
just like
little
Philadelphia
bars.
did.
The windows are open.
So we need more bars?
Sure,
Yeah.
there's never, but all the bars that are there are closing downtown because there aren't any people.
Oakland needs more bars.
I mean, for God's sake, Froggy's closed.
Downtown Pittsburgh has all it needs: porn shops and Club Elite. I live down there.
Isn't that in the Strip District?
Yeah. No. You know what, though? It's funny. True story is a friend of mine who I used to work with in Michigan just moved to Pittsburgh.
Really?
And he got an apartment downtown. And when he tells people, they go, "Oh, where do you live?" Downtown. They go, "Really?" Like they're incredulous. They're like, "Oh, there's places to live." Not A, there's places to live downtown. B, why do you live down there? You know, when everybody else nobody lives downtown.
Yeah, where does he live?
He lives like 9th and Penn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in that area. Yeah.
All right, so we need transportation, we need more bars and definitely housing downtown. Anything else necessary in order to fix things?
Yeah.
We need you to stay on the air.
Thank you.
We need to move towards a less fractured governmental system.
One
Regionalism.
big metropolitanism, one big freaking government. the
Whatever
mayor of
the
county.
form is that fits for this area and this city and this county, we need to break away from having 18 governments for every 100,000 people.
Isn't this just a plot by you to become the mayor of the county one day?
That's it. It was, on the last day of your show, it comes out.
And what was that thing you did? Head, heart, soul, or something? It's like, are you Catholic?
Like a Sammy Sosa thing? What the hell?
It's like the Catholic
But in
thing.
English.
No, I don't want to end up like Sammy.
All right. So, Alan, you're definitely leaving no matter what.
Yes.
This could never. We couldn't persuade you to hang around.
No.
Why is that?
Because Pittsburgh's been great to me, but it's nowhere that when I came here, I knew that I would eventually leave. It's not a place that I'm going to put down roots.
You could change your mind.
Well, I've been here in January. I will have been here 5 years, which has flown by. I mean, luckily. But no, I won't stay here. I mean, I'll go on to different things.
Just because you want more money in a bigger place, and a bigger place has more money.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. We'll let you go then.
And frankly, I have no. You were the first guy to. I do off cue for PBS, and the only reason I do that show is because those producers saw me as a greenhorn in Pittsburgh on NightTalk. So you're the first guy to put me on TV. I have that gig now because of this show. So with this show gone, that's just gravy. What am I sticking around for? I'm not doing this show, so what am I sticking around for?
All right. Any final words before we end this scintillating free-for-all segment?
No, I just saw your show last night, and Jim Cram was talking about the great people he had a chance to meet. Alan Cox is on cue or off cue or whatever it's called this week because of the fact that when you sat on this show, they found you were intelligent.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought out different things in different people. You gave me a little soapbox that stirs up the pot, and I appreciate that. And I think.
And now the mayor hates your guts.
Yeah, he does.
The mayor hates everybody these days.
Good point.
I hope we see you back on the air soon.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Happy John McIntyre.
Ladies and gentlemen, another scintillating free-for-all panel. Meet the next group of humans when we come back on the final historic episode of Night Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Green is on the panel tonight. Still to come, music videos from Sophie Masloff and Cyril Weck. They will be dancing. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us on the final episode of Night Talk. Back to introduce our next scintillating free-for-all panel, though I'm very, very confused. You're Bill Green, right?
No, I'm not Bill Green, but I'm here to defend Bill
Well,
Green's
who's the
honor.
guy next to you?
Actually, this is the famous Bill Green, the political analyst, second to none in the country.
Well, I was certain that you were.
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm from Chiller Theater, and I'm Steve, and of course you know that, John, because Bill and I...
Ladies and gentlemen, Little Steven from Chiller Theater. a classic Pittsburgh television program.
But I thought I would come back every 20 years for a final show, and it's been about 20 years for Children, so I had to come back for the best final show that there will be in Pittsburgh.
If I can ask you, thank you very much for that. Are you resentful of the fact that Bill Green is trying to be the preeminent midget in the region?
No, he's a very, very intelligent man, and he's slightly taller than I am, but I thought that now that Arnold is the governor of California, that Bill and I could be the DeVito Schwarzenegger, the twins thing. And I'm a Democrat, and Bill's a Republican, so that would work out good.
Little Stephen, you are an incredible good sport to come here tonight and hang out with us.
Hey, I appreciate it being invited.
And you've been on the show, and you were tremendous as a guest.
Thank you. I was here with Bill and Bruno.
And Chili Billy, absolutely. And Bruno, yeah.
And Bruno was here, and it's been a great show, and I watch you every night. I watched you last night, and it's a shame to see you go, but local television just isn't what it used to be in Pittsburgh.
Not without our theater, pal.
I think
that
that's when it started to go down, and then they brought you in, John, and they brought it back up. But now, John, it's just, But I am sure you're going to show up somewhere.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Have a nice day.
Good to see you.
Goodbye.
Little Stephen, ladies and gentlemen, from Chiller Theater. All right, time is slipping away. Mean Bill Green, a Republican curmudgeon extraordinaire, is here. The lovely and talented Diana Wentz, who single-handedly drove Cyril Wecht's political career down the drain. Political analyst extraordinaire. And Chris Potter, ladies and gentlemen, they're like looking at a map or something. Chris Potter, the senior editor, is that correct? I always get that wrong? Just the managing editor of the city paper. I think Newman is the real... the big honcho.
Are we on now?
Yes, we're on.
Oh, I'm sorry. What we were going through, the Tribune Review pointed out that the three of us have to find something else to do on Friday nights now. We figured that since the show's going off the air, it does not mean that we cannot still circulate the city and pontificate. So we're going to set up a card table, and we're going to go to different parts of the city. Ross Park Mall, Allegheny Center Mall isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Century 3.
Yeah.
And we're going to set up a card table, and we're going to pontificate for food. And I think we actually have a sign for that.
Yes, we will all opine for food in the very near future.
Oh, do you want to come too and be part of that?
Well, if you guys got to find something else to do on Friday nights, I do as well. All right.
In fact, John, now that you've brought it up, attaboys are fine at Dr. Friday.
Yeah,
but I thought we'd provide you with something that could actually help you in the challenges to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can see me just off the Grant Street exit, downtown Pittsburgh, with this sign. In the very near future, looking pathetic.
There's a bit of a bonus too. Obviously, the streets of Pittsburgh are about to be littered with would-be pundits. So I thought,
and confetti because it's John McIntyre.
Let's give you a bit of an edge. And what is the one thing that it takes a talk show host in the United States today to get a bit of sympathy from the national media? It's OxyContin addicts. Please help. God bless.
My friends, I eat OxyContin like it's Cap'n Crunch. All right, thank you very much, Chris
You're
Potter.
welcome, sir.
I mean, yeah, seriously, do you have 5 more bits?
No.
Oh, good.
No, I was going to say, continuing with the theme of the show, it's an interstate road atlas.
Yeah.
They've got maps of the states in here. They've got maps of the major cities in America in here. Could we find a map of Pittsburgh in here? No.
I don't know, but are we doomed? Is Pittsburgh doomed, or should we be fueled with optimism for some apparent reason? Bill Green.
I've seen this city go through so much, and one of the keys to this Western Pennsylvania and the city is its resilience, and we've seen it come out and wear to a renaissance in the early 50s. We've seen it have a terrible recession and come back with another renaissance in the 80s. So I think that we'll get through this tough patch and come back strong again. I see a Renaissance 3 probably in the next 10 years. I'm very optimistic. Right now, it's very easy to be pessimistic, but I think in the long term we'll come back.
That's a good view from the veteran, Diana Wentz.
Well, it depends on, I mean, you have to define, first of all, doomed. I mean, are we going to become the next Baltimore, Seattle?
How did Dr. Wecht put it?
Austin.
Jerkwater, Texas, or whatever?
Are we going to become one of those 3 places that's like really cool to live? And then the question is, do we want to? I mean, people in Seattle, they actually stopped.
No, we don't want to be a cool to live place.
Well,
that would be horrible.
No. The people in Seattle actually tried to stop people in Northern California from moving up to Seattle because there were too many people coming into town. We have a really good secret here in Pittsburgh. Everybody is just surprised and stunned when they come to the city about the view, about how clean it is, about the fact that, there's not black soot in the air, and how wonderful a place it is.
Thank God
we just
we're
need
not
some
growing growing and we're losing population.
We just need to bring some people here who will bring jobs. I mean, it's part of the whole Rust Belt problem. And, you know, Councilman Peduto knows how to deal with things like this. But
no, Councilman Peduto would tax the living hell out of anybody that brings new jobs to this town. That's the problem with one party rule in this city.
But before we get to that, somebody's always trying to spoil the one-party rule.
It's just a reality. It's a reality.
Sir?
You're asking my opinion?
Yes.
Well, I the jerk and jerk water. I mean, so, you know, Naysane been very, very good to me. And, you know, in retrospect, it's absolutely true, as Mr. Green says. This town has gone through a lot. This town has gone through a lot. On the other hand, this town continues to go through a lot, and it just never seems to really catch a break despite all of these wonderful renaissances that are supposed to bring us back. The population has declined after the post-war, and really nothing stopped that from happening. In the long term, will we be fine? You know, probably we'll be okay, but as John Keynes once said, in the long run, we're all dead. You know, I mean, do we need a new attitude? Do we need, you know, do we need
Chris Potter for mayor?
Yeah, God, that's a great idea.
What this community needs is political and business leadership, and we're lacking, and certainly the former. The latter, what we're dealing with second-generation managers or presidents of Heinz and Hillman's and companies that were found here and brought to bear by their named families. So we're dealing with outsiders now running PPG and Heinz and such, and that's fine, because they're rising to the occasion. The problem is that in the political class around here, we haven't let young and new grow, and so we don't have the leadership. Why is this mayor scoot around for 6 years with some basic, simple plans to get this city together? Because he has no profile and courage to do it. We lack leadership. You keep saying, well, why don't these things get done? I'll tell you, John, because we don't have leaders that go in there and make it get done. We can sit here and talk about who we met with and what we did, but has anybody gotten out there, gone to Washington, got money? No. We don't have political leadership.
For better, for worse, got the stadiums built. That was a big deal project.
Got the stadiums built on your and my tax dollars.
I understand.
I mean, come on. All right. I'm not sure that, I'm not certain that's such a great thing. I was never in favor to begin with.
It's also part of the attitude of Pittsburgh. I have a friend who lives in Columbus, a cool place to be, and she has made the astute observation that as you go around to many of the cities in the country, and I've been there, where they have displaced Pittsburgher clubs, places where you can always go to a bar and watch the Steeler games on Sunday, places where you can get together and eat pierogies and kibasi, wear black and gold on a Thursday night of the week, because these are displaced Pittsburghers. These are the people who speak well of the city. She has always encountered
people who have left.
Yeah,
exactly.
but they're gone.
The people who are left here just have this negative attitude of the city. And again, I got to repeat the Mark Twain quote: "When the end of the world comes, which you think is coming soon, and now it is John McIntyre Day, so maybe when the end of the world comes, which could perhaps be today, I hope that I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because then I'll still have 5 years left to live. So maybe those of us here still have 5 years left to live, and the world has ended outside of this town. Who knows?"
Except for Cox, he's toast the minute he leaves, obviously.
Alan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then maybe that's something that would convince him to stay here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
All right, so you think this is misplaced optimism?
No, you know, here's what I think. Leadership, sure, we need new leadership, we need a new attitude, but, you know, $60 million would also help a little bit, I think, from Harrisburg. And, you know,
it's easy
December,
though.
It's easy
then
to...
what?
I think Bill actually raises a really good point, which is there was a time in this city's history, maybe where we had David Lawrence's, but we also had folks like Richard Mellon. You look right now, compare what's happening right now in Harrisburg to what happened during the stadium crusade. I mean, then you had all of these business folks standing up, lobbying Harrisburg, writing op-ed pieces to the Post-Gazette, promulgating BS studies, telling them how about all the great economic benefits we'll have from these taxes. Where are these guys now? You know, I don't see them out there front and center the way they were. Maybe David Roderick is out there working behind closed doors, but I don't see these guys out there.
Marty McGuinn and
Marty McGuinn's the one guy.
Others and the Allegheny Conference, they've been going over they've been going over to Harrisburg regularly. Their problem is they can't defend the city's management. And what they get a stonewall in Harrisburg because the Harrisburg legislators, and properly so, says your city hasn't cleaned up its own mess. And when it does that, we'll be happy to fund.
Yeah, but
until we do the basic things that a mayor and a council are supposed to do, there's no way this is going to get done.
But let's look at the reality of this town. This town built the world with the steel industry. Then, after that started to crash, we were the third largest corporate headquarters headquarters in the country.
Right, and then it
we're
went to
neither
hell,
of
and now
those
we're here today,
anymore.
yeah.
We have to have something like that that brings people here, brings workers so that you can have good jobs.
You
so
didn't
that
want
people
anybody
can
here.
stay
Too many people in Seattle.
Not too many people. There's got to be a threshold. Not losing 30,000 people each census, but not gaining 1 million people every time somebody wants to leave the Ohio border. There's
But you guys, I know you want to stay, and I know you want to stay. You want to stay as well. Is that correct, sir?
I'm actually just stuck here. I live 2 miles from the hospital I was born in. There are ambitious species of slug that get further than that in a lifetime. 2 miles. It's just.
I know.
They're gonna have to dynamite.
One of them has a talk show on the channel.
Very nice.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, stick around. We've got an incredible music video tribute to Night Talk. And in case we have more time to fill, we'll talk to them. Back in a moment on this historic final episode. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who's a big fan of rock and roll superstar Neil Young like I am knows that he's a whiner, and that's why I admire him, because I like to think of myself as a major whiner. And so, saying that, we present this, a tribute to the Night Talk program via the classic Neil Young song, My, Hey, Hey. Take a look. Let's talk to the newly elected Republican Congressperson Melissa Hart. And when those partisan people, those bitter partisans come up to me and they say, but John, they stole the election. It was a bitterly divided Supreme Court along partisan lines, and that's just wrong. What do I tell them?
Tell them they're being bad.
They are bad people. That's the spirit, Congressman-elect Hart.
It's time to come together. I do not gloat. You're a loser.
How do you...
Values, drinking, good.
Rock and roll is here to stay.
In the city, that's not enough for you, ma'am? You and your snotty little kid?
It's better to burn out than to fade away. My, hey, hey.
Come on, you're kidding. Did you not go to high school? It is there. The top 10 things that I, your Night Talk host John McIntyre, and the Cute Creek Miners have in common.
Out of the blue and into the black.
Bruno San Marco. What else is there?
They give you this, but you pay for that.
And everywhere I go, it seems like the whole world watches the show.
And once you're gone, you can't come back. When you're out of the blue and into the black.
Your producer told me it was a picnic.
Yeah. It's a picnic channel.
We're out of time.
Okay, well.
We are out of time. Terminate interview. Destroy John. Destroy Pittsburgh. Initiate missile attack.
Why should I take attacks from insignificant imbeciles like that? Yes, he is an a-hole, and a lot worse. If I saw him and saw him right here, I'd call him a lot more. Some choice words that are under Fifth Avenue High School.
Watch it. Reformo the chicken trying to hump you. Beware.
I just want to wish John McIntyre happy anniversary. Thank you very much.
The king is gone, but he's not forgotten.
You're a glasses half empty kind of guy. Indeed.
This is the story of Johnny Rotten.
You try being stuck on cable in Pittsburgh, pal. You see if the glass is half full.
It's better to burn out than it is to rust. The king is gone, but he's not forgotten.
So I'm on a show like
All the time. And now you're always on that QED show with those people.
I like them better than I like you, but could you blame me?
These like weird, funky, eclectic, groovy PBS people. You know what I'm saying?
My, hey, hey.
Johnny Mac. All right, shooting the subtle singers in back there.
Rock and roll is here to stay.
The fool who cut me off. Now get out of here. Get to the next station.
Hey, hey, my.
You ever go out and just get hammered with Ted Kennedy and grope women?
Rock and roll can never die.
I do not grope women and I do not get hammered.
There's more to the picture than meets the eye. Hey, hey, my.
Smoke pot with me now or grab boobies with me later.
Rock and roll can never die.
So that Bush guy, does he have like a brain in his head?
He's a pretty guy. He's actually very smart.
Hey, hey, my.
Nice to see you again.
I predict big things for you.
Thank you. Senator Al Inspector, he's always right.
Rock and roll can never die.
Back in a moment, more Free for All night straight ahead on the final episode. Stick around. It's the final historic episode of Night Talk. Quickly, do you have anything last to say before we final?
I think big and wish you.
Thanks, dude.
Good luck.
I consider you a good friend, and I miss you.
Indeed. Thank you very much. That's sweet of you to say. Sir.
I just thought auto insurance another sign of the John, for 7 years, you made me a little look like there's much money being a conservative as well. Thanks for that and for everything.
Thanks, dude.
Take care.
Gentlemen, tonight's commentary, Mr. Sprinall Sea, and from the world of television. The final episode I talked right now. It's being compared to the last episode of Friends, the final Seinfeld, the concluding Cheers, the denouement MASH. Now, favorably, of course, they are all last episodes. 2 thumbs up your butt, rave Senator Rick Santorum. Yes? After 7 years of talk show tomfoolery, Night Talk is ending. I have many people to thank. First in foreskin, I'd like to thank that guy who was against circumcision. He was on a dozen times. You just can't beat obsessing on tiny little penises when it comes to quality news talk television. Thanks to the evil leader of the vast right-wing conspiracy, Dickie Cougar Landscape, for getting me fired but not having me killed. I looked up vast right-wing conspiracy in the dictionary and I picked up Fred Hansberger. Thanks, Fred, for not spontaneously combusting while I was sitting next to you yesterday. To be smothered in hot buttered lard would be a horrible way to go. Other notable fat asses include Illinois Congressman Henry Hyde. Thanks, Hanky Panky, for having the hypocrisy to fuel the Clinton scandals while being a notable adulterer your own self. I'd like to thank Antonin Scalia and Billy Rehnquist for stealing a you just can't beat. A shamefully subversion of democracy itself when you need something to yammer about on the tube endlessly. I'd like to thank G.W. Doofus for invading a country for the same reason people climb mountains, because it's there. The only imminent threat to the United States is Dandy Don Rumsfeld's inevitable Dr. Strangelove-style final meltdown. I'd like to thank the governor for grabbing boobies with me now and smoking doobies with me later. I'd like to thank Chief McNeely for never arresting me despite my inability to stop staring at his wife, the commander's cleavage. I'd like to thank Steve Leeper for throwing taxpayers' money down the rat hole. For the stadiums, I must have killed at least 200 shows with that boondoggle. I'd like to thank Cyril Wecht for ridiculing the single bullet theory. It supposedly went through the president's brain and out his pinky and took a left turn at Albuquerque and went into the governor's Connolly's rectum and damn near killed him. It's preposterous. I'd like to thank His Honor Tom Murphy for being a fabulous mayor. I'd like to thank him, but let's face it, he just sucks. Most of all, I'd like to thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Pittsburgh. You actually watch this stuff. Hell, you're watching it right now. We interrupt this commentary for a brief moment of sincerity. This is the most fun I've ever had doing anything anywhere. And thanks so much for being a part of it. Good night, Mr. and Mrs. Pittsburgh, and all the ships at sea. Hey. Show's over, pal. Okay. Knock it off.
I don't know how long you wanted me to do it.
Just shut up. Good night, everybody.
You fascinate me.